There's places around us all the time that we don't often visit enough and try to explore as much as we possibly can. And today we decided to head out to Petersburg and go to one such place. One of the only places that's actually available for you to be able to park next to and get out and go to. It's called Battery 5 here at Petersburg's National Military Park. This particular location was extremely important for really a number of reasons, but the main reason was during the Siege of Petersburg, that first breakthrough. This location becomes one nightmare for the small band of Confederate soldiers that are out here posted to protect this location. Quickly, they end up getting routed from this location, and the Confederates have to set up another defense line. June of 1864 sees the war coming to Petersburg's doorstep pretty rapidly. Lee's caught off guard, and he is in the trenches in and around the Richmond area, still protecting the capital. Grant sent men over here to attack these fortifications. Well, it works out pretty good for those Union soldiers. There's only about 2,300 men out here in Petersburg in these trenches protecting these fortifications, and they get hit, and they get hit hard. But there's one problem. The Union soldiers have a massive advantage in this attack, and they have the ability to break through here and really sweep and clean up the field, except for William Baldy Smith. William Baldy Smith decides he's going to wait, and that hesitation that he takes actually ends up probably propelling the United States military into a 9-month siege out here in Petersburg. And so you have the Siege of Petersburg that takes place with the eventual capture of the Confederate Army and Appomattox during the surrender. But one has to wonder, what would have happened if, at this location, Baldy Smith would have come out here and attacked the way that he was supposed to and not hesitate? So in these fortifications all along behind me here, this entire section fortifications reaching all the way back here. All of this stuff is the Confederate fortification, Battery 5. Now, if we go to the rear of us, right there, those portions of fortifications were put there by the United States Army in 1864, after the attack of June of 1864, when they took this location, Battery 5. So you can kind of see this facing direction here is really what the Confederate Army was looking at, protecting their train depots and the town of Petersburg and all of that from encroachment by the United States Army. When this battery is taken, the United States Army, or the Union Army, is in here in this fortification. They have to protect this side. So now they have a full fort here made out of Battery 5, and they can fire from any direction that they need to. So this is a very strong point here for the Union. Now, if there's one thing I like to look at, it's the way these fortifications are built when you get to them. They have this highlighted pretty well here, that gentle slope that comes up, and then they have a wooden plank there, platform that they put the cannon on. And it's overlooking the corners of these earthworks. And you can see multiple set up out here too. From the Confederates' point of view, this was the largest battery set up along the Dimmock line. And the Dimmock line out here stretches for about 10 miles. And at one point in time, the Dimmock line was actually stopped because of all the fighting that was going on around Richmond. So they built up a large portion of it, but they didn't do quite as much as they originally had planned to do. This is a big part of the Dimmock line. And when you come walking out here, it's very easy to get inside here and just kind of get lost in this little small space and time and kind of think of the history that went on here. And it even muffles some of the noise from the surrounding area. So it's pretty neat. Here in a minute, I'm about to cross over a section where the fortifications used to be, but what they did was they allowed the grass to grow up here. So you can see the actual Confederate Dimmock line where you should stretch out right across the field there. They're doing that all across this Petersburg National Battlefield so that you can kind of get a visual in places where the earthworks are gone. This whole area was a farm. It was a 525 acre plantation, and the house itself used to sit right over there. It was called Claremont. Also, back there on that field used to be slave quarters for enslaved people. They had about 22 or 23 enslaved people out here, and the only records that they really have of those people are their first names. They don't have a whole lot. And then after the American Civil War is over with, Claremont really doesn't have any documentation to prove what really happened out here as far as the battlefield, national battlefield is concerned. MPS has said as much on their sign. But everyday life out here was probably pretty hard for those people in those enslaved quarters. And I'm sure the people that were living in that house were fairly wealthy, considering how much land they had at that time. But the earthworks, when they were being dug, were dug right across the front yard of where that house was, hypothetically protecting the home from any so-called invaders. And the people that were building those earthworks were primarily enslaved people from around the area. So some pretty harsh history there, but definitely things that people need to know when they come walking out here to see these earthworks at the battlefield. Now, coming out here in the dead of winter, one thing I like the most about being able to stop at this place is you get a real good perspective in the wintertime of exactly what these soldiers are facing when they attack this Battery 5. Union soldiers are coming from this direction and they're heading up that slope. So if you just walk out to the location that's just the battery, you don't get to see this. You need to take the trail around the side so you can actually see the front facing slope where the Union soldiers are having to go up the top there. Also down here at this location is a powder magazine. A powder magazine, like the one that's behind me here, is exactly what it says it is. It's a powder magazine. It's a place where munitions are stored to protect it from any incoming shells or anything that might cause it to explode. And at the same time, if it does explode, it's supposed to be far enough underground where it can still protect the men that are back here in the Battery 5, which is up on the hill. Now directly in front of me here is a very historic item that's been pictured many times during the American Civil War. It was called the Dictator. Dictator is a 13-inch seacoast mortar, and from this location where I'm standing right now, roughly in this area, it fired about 218 times. But their most frequent target was the Chesterfield Battery across the Appomattox River. It did not create the damage that they were hoping for. Usually it was very off spot. If it landed into something, I'm sure it created a lot of damage, but it was not very accurate. And due to its size, it required a custom rail train for it to be hauled around on. It was massive. And here, I'll show you what it looks like in this video as we're panning across it. The recoil frequently damaged its firing platform. So every time this thing went off, it was ripping up the wooden planks that it was stuck on. And due to its impracticality and ineffectiveness, the Dictator was only used during the first 3 months of the siege in 1864. So not used very often. When you take a look at this thing and you stand beside it, it is massive. And it almost looks like cartoonish, like a mortar that's out of Mario or something like that. It's pretty cool looking though. Now again, things that you're going to miss if you just go to the parking lot and take a look here is this mortar. There's the Dictator. It is pretty massive in size. And all along the backside here, just behind me, is that nice hill, and there's a stream down below there. It's a beautiful location to go out for a walk, even during the dead of winter when it's really cold outside. Right now it's only like 40, 41 degrees, so it's not bad out here. Here pretty soon it's about to get pretty bad. It's going to be in the 30s and 20s. So, but looking up, you also get a good unique perspective of the height of this hill, where the fortification is just ahead of us there from Battery 5. You guys know me, I like to get out to places and try to get as close as possible to some of these streams and stuff, because I feel like the water out here in most battlefields carries a little bit of power with it, just like the field itself. You know, the soldiers would have had to gone over those streams back there. How large they were during the time of the battle, I'm not exactly sure, but they definitely had courses of water out here that these soldiers were having to get across. The mud and the muck, the leaves, the trees that were stuck in the way. And then of course the battlefield itself has changed over time, so the 525 acre plantation would have been dotted with trees so that they could have wood for structures and fires, and it would have also been cleared out so that they could grow their crops. Additionally, when they were out here building these fortifications, they were chopping down as many trees as they possibly could. Soldiers were burning it up for fuel and using it all the time. So it's pretty neat to get out here, even in this forest that seems very young, and see this location. If you get the chance to come to Petersburg and check out Battery 5, like I said, walk down to the battery and then take that trip that goes around the side and then around this way. Just off in this direction here is actually the railroad. And you can walk right past that railroad, straight on back up to the visitor center. It's a nice and peaceful walk out there in the woods. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's beautiful. Come on out to Petersburg. Now, you really can't ask for much more than the beauty of this place that I'm at right now at City Point. The neighborhood around here is pretty sketchy. So when you come out here, down there towards the end, there's a large parking lot down by the water. I'd highly recommend you stay away from there. And if you can, stay up here. If the National Parks parking lot is closed, park in front of one of these houses up on the hill and kind of stay away from that park down there at the dock. It's not exactly a nice place to be at. But City Point is the location where General Ulysses S. Grant and his officers and hospitals and everything would have been. Back here is the large house is still intact. The owner of this property lived here. Grant didn't actually take his home to stay in, even though he could have. But there is a cabin down here, and I'm pretty sure it's a replica. I don't think it's the original one. But we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to add that into this video as well, since we're talking about Petersburg. So here's the Depot Field Hospital sign that's out here at Petersburg. And it talks about how large the hospital would have been. There's a sort of a picture here you might be able to see. Some folks have tried to wipe it clean so that it's visible. The information out here is kind of scarce, but you can do some research and come out here and stand in the footprints of General Grant and the staff that would have been out here taking care of wounded soldiers. Just look at this place. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm at City Point here in Petersburg, Virginia. And if you take a look off in the distance over there, that right there is supposedly what the cabins looked like that General Ulysses S. Grant and his staff officers stayed in over here at this location. And there used to be a lot more than that out here. But there's a sign over there where you can press a button and it gives you a good story. This driveway that's here, it comes off the street, originally came from this direction, and you can see how the path just moves on in front. This is actually the front of the house, the receiving area, and this is the side here. So it's a really neat location. It overlooks the water. During the summertime, it's actually not that bad out here as far as temperatures are concerned. It's hot, but the breeze coming off the water feels good. During the wintertime, however, the temperature drops pretty significant. It's a beautiful place though. Just look at this place. Like, it's an amazing porch here. It wraps around the side and faces that water over there. Think about all the decisions that were made here in this yard in front of this massive house at a time that was so uncertain during the 1860s, 1864 campaign. All the decisions that were made. And then just down the street over there, Abraham Lincoln visited right before his death. We're gonna pop around front here and see what else is out front of this house. See the beautiful views here at City Point. Take a look at the river overlook. Some of the structures that are still standing here from this massive home. You can see that huge home coming in the picture in the background there. Even some of this old ironwork here. It's pretty neat. I'm gonna make my way out here so you can see it. Can you beat that view? Now this view is extremely important to the people that once owned this home. It's not just a view. It is a receiving and loading area down below. All commerce travels this river. So they made a ton of money out here at the hands of enslaved people at this location. There's signs up out here that are not in the greatest of condition, but they tell about the resistance and the punishment of the people that were enslaved at this property. It's kind of crazy to think that it wasn't that long ago that stuff like that happened. And here you are on a Martin Luther King Day, a day celebrating that life and legacy. We're standing here at a place that's steeped in that history of slavery. So the signs behind me there are pretty important. It gives a story of Mr. Eppes, who owned this plantation out here. Over 1,000 acres of land, split on either side of this river. Land as far as the eyes can see. He owned 122 people. He enslaved them here and had them work in these fields, creating the wood planks and fence rails, slaughtering animals, planting crops. And before the war, he had hired 2 men to be overseers, also including one freed black man to work as an overseer as well. By the time the Civil War rolls around, before the war, none of those enslaved people had tried to escape. During the war, 106 of the 122 actually escaped for freedom. And several of them ended up in the United States military, including 2 who were part of the Colored Troop Regiment that would end up fighting in battles around the area, most likely. So you can see right here on this sign, this says this is Grant's cabin. And then all these other cabins off in the distance here are lined up next to it. And you can actually see the Eppes house there in the background. Well, according to the sign, this was moved to Philadelphia at some point in time. And then it was returned to the location where it originally was, which is right here. And according to the sign, only 10% of this cabin is actually the original structure itself. But just think, some of those famous photographs where Grant's sitting out front here, and he's got his family with him. This is pretty amazing. And even though the majority of this is not original, it is still sitting in the same place where all of the history took place. All the officers coming in and out of this door, receiving orders, being told what to do, where to go. All while this cabin faces this location here. And you have batteries built all around, earthworks, to protect the area. So adjacent to the property here, we have this building, which used to be the cooking quarters and a place where they wash laundry, the enslaved people here. And when you read the signs inside there and you catch the history of what happened, what took place here, you get a real good understanding of the type of person that owned this property. Quite frankly, he was a tyrant. He purchased people, beat them, enslaved them, denied them food, denied them rations, made them live in squalor, terrible conditions, while he lived in this house here and benefited from all of the work that was being produced by those people. Quite frankly, he doesn't deserve to be remembered. Well, folks, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make our way too much further in this park because the actual tour road itself is closed. The pothole that I reported on not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago, is still there. I don't know if there's any plans to fix that yet, so, but definitely we're going to try to get out there to some of those other locations on foot when we have more time. Just wanted to piece together a little something short here to highlight and showcase one of the spots you can still go to at this national battlefield. They have 3 visitor center locations here. One is at City Point. The hours are very finicky, so getting into the house out there next to where Grant's location was is sometimes troublesome. This visitor center here is open most days, 9 to 5. And then there's one out at Five Forks, which I have not seen open in months. So, not really sure about that location now. Anyways, we hope you enjoy this little short video we have here, and hope to catch you out there on those battlefields. Oh, also coming up here soon, in April, the Ken Burns Film Festival, or the Gettysburg Film Festival, will be going down in that first weekend. There'll be a lot of folks out there, including Ken Burns and some other folks that they're about to announce, and a lot of the people from YouTube that you watch are probably going to be in the area filming and covering the film festival itself. So we'd like to see you guys out there. Come on out. Maybe you'll catch us out there on the fields. We'll see you then. Until then, this is History with Waffles.